Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda, and I am drinking some raspberry tea this morning. Woo woo! Okay, let's talk about something very serious, and that is your cash flow. As an entrepreneur, I want to talk to you today about 3 things that you can do in your marketing right now in 3 minutes to have an effect, to have better closes. So, you don't have a business if you don't have any sales. And there's nothing more stressful in a relationship or in your life when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're wondering how you can pay for something. Even when you have a lot of money, there are moments that come in your career or in your lifetime where some big things happen. Like, for instance, taking care of your parents when you didn't expect to take care of your parents. Or maybe you have a child and now they've gotten to an age where you want to put them in private school, and that's going to be an extra $1,500 or $1,700 a month. Or maybe there's a medical thing that comes up that you don't want to go to the medical system, you want to go to functional medicine doctors, and then you've got that huge bill, right? So when you look at your lifespan, one of the most important things to do is know how to actually close faster and more efficiently. So when you have a vision and you have something that can change the world, it's not a good idea to be shitty at closing, because then your great idea that could transform the world has a missing link, and that missing link is you being able to sell. So I want to talk to you about this today. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody who's watching us live. Hi, Lisa. Yes, cash flow. I am so over the ups and downs and inconsistency of income. That's leadership, which I actually messaged you about this morning, because you actually know how to sell and you actually know what to do to keep growing your audience. Just a little to you, Lisa. Okay, so Wendy McKenna, good morning. Elizabeth, good morning. Carmen, good morning. Thank you for responding to me in Coach Yourself to Success group. Kelly, love this. Awesome. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you guys on Instagram. Okay, so first I want to hear from you. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to closing? What's the biggest objection? Do you have an objection that keeps coming up for you? Or do you have no one to talk to? What's happening with you in sales? Just tell me in the comment section right now. Tell me in the comment section right now what happens to you. And then grab a pen and a paper. And here's what it looks like if you want your closing percentages to go up. So first and foremost, write this down, okay? Grab a piece of paper and pen and write this down. Number 1 is you need to add vulnerability into your pre-sale. What this means is, for instance, if I get online every day and or once a week, whenever I decide to do it, if you're not doing things like this, like Coffees with Shanda, but your version, or Instagram lives or Instagram stories, connection is currency. And so first and foremost, you need to connect more, because the sale happens before you ever make the offer. The sale happens before you ever make the offer. Think about someone that you want to work with. Why do you want to work with them? Are you watching them online? Are you getting emails from them? Are you watching a launch that they're doing? Are you watching their webinars? Are you social media stalking them? Right? You're watching them, right? You're consuming information. And so one of the big problems that I see with entrepreneurs who are struggling is that they actually are not putting out enough content for people to actually consume. So, I just had somebody on Instagram yesterday reach out to me and say, I really want to become a client of yours. I've been consuming your information, watching on Instagram stories. I've been watching on Facebook, and I really love what you do. And I would like to sign up for your PACE Club. I've never made her an offer yet. And so she is brand new on my Instagram thread. Now, about 4 days ago, we had somebody else do that in my Instagram as well, in my inbox, and she did become a client of ours, a PACE Club client of ours. So if you're not putting out enough information, then it makes it really hard for you to sell, because you're having to push really hard to convince people because they don't know who you are. So money comes down to value. So when someone values you, they actually don't have money objections. So I saw in the thread, somebody said money objections is a big thing that they face when it comes to selling. Well, that means you're either not sending out enough emails, 2 to 3, sometimes 4 emails a week to your database, or you're not doing enough streams, right? Like, so we take some of these coffees with Shanda and we send them out to our database. We send one out a week to our database, and we send 3 emails a week to our database. Now, if you're a client of ours, you're not getting that much information because you're consuming content as I'm training you as your mentor. And so I don't need to be continuing to have you consume more other than coffees with Shanda, because of the fact that you're consuming a lot of information. But if you're brand new to my page right now and you've never heard of me before, somebody has shared this page, which, by the way, is a way that I can tell if you actually want more of this type of sales content, is to share the page, tag people. That shows me that that you like this. And so I'll keep bringing more and more of, sales training, or maybe some webinar conversions or things like that to help you amplify your business. So, however, if you're on my page and somebody shared this and now you're meeting me for the first time, if you like what you're hearing and you think that this is valuable, then come back again at 6 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m. for Coffee with Shanda Monday through Friday. The more you consume Coffee with Shanda, I'm teaching you while I'm doing it, is what I'm doing right now, right? So if you like this, hit some hearts on Facebook here. I'm teaching you while I'm doing it. And so I'm not a big fan of people getting online once or twice a month and, teaching their stuff, right? And then expecting that now I'm in sales that you should buy. And it's about a relationship, and it's about giving on a regular basis. And people say to me all the time, oh my God, Shanda, I can't believe that you get up at 6 a.m. You're so committed. And I'm like, well, it's part of my job to show up and give to you and create value, because how are you ever going to know in a sea of the internet of so many amazing people and, not so amazing people out there who are training, business training or fitness training or whatever it is that you're doing and I'm doing, if we're not out there giving? And I talk about this all the time around generosity. If you don't develop a generous heart and give, you're going to find doing things like a daily show. And I'm not saying you have to do a daily show, but it helps. If you do a daily show, it helps. It allows people to see whether or not they like you or don't like you. We have people who message us all the time who are clear after watching Coffees with Shanda that they want to come work with us and get mentored. And then they see our clients come on Coffee with Shanda and they see the crazy results that our clients get. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I want that result. I want to be a success story. I want to be on Coffee with Shanda. And so look at what are you doing? And are you putting yourself out there from a vulnerability standpoint, meaning that every time you do an Instagram live, a Facebook live, a stories like Instagram stories, or you send out emails to your database, every time you do that, you're opening yourself up for criticism. And trust me, I get it. I get so much love. And then I get also beat up. Like people say they don't like, some ladies will say they don't like my hair. I'm wearing extensions. I'm not wearing extensions. This is my hair. People say she wears too much makeup, and people are mean. But I want you to take some of those mean things out there and realize that when you start to get them, that's a woo woo, because that means that you're actually making a difference. So when you start to rub people, whether it's you're rubbing them in a jealous way or an angry way, then that means that you have another group of people who absolutely agree with you and adore you. You need to have that subdivision. So if you're trying to get the right stuff to put out there, you're going to slow down your content creation. So first and foremost, step number 1 is I want you to be vulnerable, and I want you to actually start connecting on a regular basis. So I found a few of my clients who had smaller email lists. I teach email lists because social media can change all the time. In fact, there'll be many times while I'm doing these lives. We have an audience that comes live. So right now there's 126 live of you watching, 126 of you are watching live right now. And that bumps up to 140. But that, you guys know that I do this Monday through Friday. So you're here. However, the threads on Facebook don't show me or don't show my stuff on a regular basis unless I'm, buying ads, which we do. So, we'll spend, $100,000 on ads, in a month and a half. And so my point in sharing that with you is that if you're not spending that type of money, then people aren't seeing your feed. And so sending stuff out to your email list, if you don't have an email list, private message me and I'll tell you how to build one. I'm not going to take up time on this Facebook Live to do that. But you want to build your email list. You want to message them 2 to 3 times a week. There is a new law, if you're marketing to anybody in Europe, that has come out, that you need to understand that new law. You can go back to last week and you'll see that I interviewed a guy by the name of Troy around the new GDP email marketing law, which is going to hit Canada and going to hit America as well, which means that you need to have consent to email these people any offers. You can offer a free offer, but then you have to keep giving that free offer. You can't offer anything other than that free offer unless people give you consent. So I'm not going to divert into that right now for the sake of this. You need to be connecting on a regular basis. So vulnerability. Now there's a deeper piece of vulnerability. Talk about some of the things you don't want to talk about. Talk about some of the things you don't want to talk about. So it doesn't have to be horrific. It doesn't have to be heartbreaking. I've talked about the fact that when I was little, my mom's boyfriend used to beat me when I was a little girl, and only from the waist down, so my mom wouldn't know. And he would tell me it was because I didn't play good enough in soccer, or I didn't eat all of my food at dinner time. And so I ran through life creating a certain level of drive to succeed and win, because if I didn't win, I got in a lot of trouble. And so lots of my really close friends know that story. And I'm not going to take this Facebook Live or Instagram Live to talk about this, but I didn't realize for so long I thought I had no energy on that story. But really I did. There was a part of me that felt embarrassed to tell you about that, because I felt that maybe you would judge me, or maybe you would think I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't, perfect. Probably perfect was more of the thing that came up for me. And it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I just said it off the stage at the Zone event. I just literally just said it and it came out of me. And so it doesn't have to be devastating like that, but there's some devastating parts of that story that are devastating. And I didn't realize I still had shame on them. So stories like that you're hiding, or maybe you can tell your friends and you think you have no energy on, start sharing them on Facebook Live, Instagram Live. If you can't do that, then they still have your power. So part of sharing, last year I shared the fact that I had a fight with my husband and he apologized, and I didn't apologize back because I didn't want him to not learn the lesson. And even when he was apologizing to me, I had this part of me, I was like, well, I don't want him to not learn the lesson. I really want, and talk about righteous, right? Talk about righteous. And I shared that story because I really didn't want to share it. And of course, there's more to the story, but my point is that look for areas that you're afraid to share, or you don't want anybody to know about you, and share it. It creates a raving fan base of people who connect to you. When you're real, they connect to you. If you just tell a story like this, you know what I mean? Like a story out here, like you can say it really easily, then it doesn't have the same energy on it that when there's a little bit of shame or embarrassment around it. So make sure that you're sharing things, and then know the point. What's the point in sharing that? So my point in just sharing that with you is to teach you vulnerability and to share something, giving you an example of what to share so that you can actually connect better. If you connect better, the conversion rates on your sales will go up, because people will value you more. If you're perfect, they will not value you as much. So many times I'll show up for Coffee with Shanda in my pajamas, my makeup when I don't wash it off the night before, which is horrible. Or, I'm leading an event and, I have my hair in a towel. I'll do that very often. I will show up like that. A couple days ago, I showed up in a baseball cap, I allow myself to be real. And when I'm running late, or I don't feel like doing my hair, or whatever that looks like, I allow that to be seen on social media, and it creates a connection. A woman just told me that signed up for our PACE Club, Profit Acceleration Club for Entrepreneurs. She said, she sent me an email we do a welcome email throughout our company. And so then I get to connect with each individual person who joins our PACE Club. And I messaged her back and welcomed her to the group. And she shared with me how she loves it when my son shows up on Coffee with Shanda, because it's given her a whole new parameter. So it's not family over here and business over here. And that's heart opening stuff for me. And so, you don't know what's going to show up. Like, allow your kids to show up is what I'm saying. Allow your real stuff to show up. Allow your stories that you don't want to tell people to show up, but know what the point is so that people get the point and you're not just processing online. The second thing is, and there's three, is certainty. Certainty brings trust. So when you speak, I don't want you to like look down. And I mean, if that's what it takes to get you to actually start showing up, then fine, on Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or to your email list. If you don't like writing, do videos. If you don't like doing videos, you could do audios, you could do written on social media and to your email list. Because remember, social media marketing changes all the time. Your email list is pretty consistent as far as building a relationship with them. You go into your inbox. If you get phone numbers, even better, because text messaging is the most intimate marketing on the planet. And so if you can text message market correctly, then what happens is you build a really close relationship quickly. Is this helping? If this is helping, please let me know. Just comment and let me know that this is helping for you. Okay, so number one is vulnerability. Number two is certainty. Speak with certainty. If you don't speak with certainty, practice before you actually get on video. So I tell all my clients, who I teach them how to do, retreats and events and video and masterminds and all of these type of things, whether they're selling events or speaking on other stages. When I teach my clients how to leverage their marketing and grow, I teach them to practice their offer 15 to 20 times. Practice their opening story 15 to 20 times. And here's what's crazy, is you never get your offer right. I mean, maybe out of 15 times, you might get your offer right once. But if you have a hard time making offers, you should practice your offer, write it out, and practice it 15 to 20 times. And you don't have to get it right or nail it on those 15 or 20 practice sessions. But what will happen is when you're actually speaking to someone, it will just flow out of you. But remember, the sale happens before you ever make the offer. Okay, the third thing is generous giving. Excuse me. Don't you love this cup? You've got this. Generous giving. The only reason why I can show up for you Monday through Friday on 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda is because I've developed my leadership of being generous. I've always had a generous heart. Thank God for that blessing. And I've always had a drive to help people. When I was a little girl, I used to slip chocolate bars, my stepmom's favorite chocolate bars, underneath her pillow because she was an air stewardess. And when she'd come home, that chocolate bar was always from my dad. I would even, when I was a teenager, go and get lingerie for her, and I would shop. It would be my idea, and my dad would pay for it, and I'd get a card. My dad would sign it, and I'd wrap it, and I would put it underneath her bed or at the front door when she'd come in from being an air stewardess from a flight. And so I've always had a generous heart. I didn't know that that was a marketing criteria. It's also a business growth strategy, right? I just shared this on Coffee with Shanda the other day. I have a friend going from 50 million to 100 million in his business. And I literally gave him a strategy for the next 30 days. Don't focus on business, focus on meeting as many people as you can and just giving to them, whether it's the janitor or your most successful friends, just give to them. And what will happen is your solution that you're looking for will come through one of those people. So solutions come through people. They come through people. And so the more you can go out there and help people, the more you're going to find that your solutions are going to come forward. Somebody knows how to solve your problem. And so if you're just busy on your to-do list working, and I teach this to my clients all the time, it's the hardest thing to teach because often we teach it through referral contests and people are like, I don't want to refer. I don't want to build your business. I'm like, oh my God, do you know how much I refer every single day to other people's businesses? Like nonstop, but they don't get it. Right. And so it's a hard thing to get because there's this, we think we're so giving, but there's this block to giving that's deep. It's deep. We're afraid to lose clients if we share this Facebook Live. We're afraid to, if we refer somebody or we bring them on our page that they're going to take our people. And it's like this deep scarcity thing that's just bred inside us. And you've got to break it. You've got to break it. So as you've seen, like when I was in Barbados, a few weeks ago, I had, Suzanne Evans, I had Pat Quinn, I had Alex Mendozian, I had Rob Kosberg, I had like all my friends doing my coffees with Shanda, and you could hire any single one of them and get amazing results and not hire me. Or you could hire two of us, right? But my point is that they were extraordinary leaders, not just average leaders, because I don't want to put average leaders on Coffee with Shanda for you to watch. I want to give you extraordinary people, and you might have private messaged somebody and started working with them. Great. Because the more you give, the more your audience will grow and your referral base will grow into you. My friends like Bedros, they send me referrals often. They send me connections often. John Ratcliffe, they send people to me and I don't have to ask. So I have a steady flow of leveraged, income, passive income that just keeps coming into me because of who I am for other people. So forget about that. It's not that I just, if you were to talk to my clients, I coached 2 clients over the weekend. I don't normally do that because I don't work weekends, but I was there for 2 clients over the weekend over and above their coaching package with me to help them. There's people who are not paying me private coaching and I'm still helping them, and they Voxer me or message me, and technically they're not allowed to do that, right? Technically they're not allowed to do that. They don't pay me $40,000 a year to do that. And those small little tweaks have them, Ariella have, 100 people wait on a wait list for her. How do you convert that? Sell out of a program. Those are little tweaks that I can make, but they're a pleasure to coach. And so be a pleasure to coach. Focus on the 3 things. They only take you about 3 minutes each to do. You can tell a story in 3 minutes. While you're telling the story, you can tell a vulnerable story. You can be certain around your story because you practiced it at least 15 times. And then, you can be generous, which means generously give people what they need, connect a lot. Then what's going to happen is when you go to make offers, you'll have those gangbuster results that you hear about your gurus that you watch online. You're like, wow, they had these huge launches and these, huge results. It's like, yeah, but they didn't just give during their product launch. They didn't just, I just spoke on a stage that Brendan Burchard, who is great, totally bombed on, and we rocked it. Now I'm not comparing it to Brendan at all. I'm just saying, the audience, first of all, my talk title was designed by the owner of the event. And Brendan came in with his own. And so I already had a level of familiarity based on the fact that they brought me in, and I was humble enough to allow them to create my title. And I really think it was God, to be quite honest. And I was able to come in on an energy that this group already knew. And so there was a familiarity. And then I coached and I gave like you wouldn't believe. There wasn't any manipulative little tweaks to be able to hook people so that they had to get me. And, at the end of the day, we had a 28% conversion, which is fantastic. So with all of that being said, look at how you're showing up, and you can't just give to get. You can't just show up and create perfect content. If you're going to convert higher, you're going to have to follow the 3 steps that I covered, and you need to do it consistently. All right, here's to you building an extraordinary business that lasts a lifetime and also lasts through all of the recessions, the ups, the downs, all of that you build an audience that just loves you, trusts you, and stays with you. All right, here's to having a great day. Let me know, please, what was your takeaway on this Coffee with Shanda? I would love to hear from you. And if you did appreciate it, please share it and tag somebody who's an entrepreneur that needed to hear this. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.